Well, as that unmistakable music indicates, we are going to be talking about the Tennessee Volunteers. We're going to be talking about the Tennessee Volunteers to perhaps the man who knows the most about the Tennessee Vols and their future. I'm speaking, of course, of new athletic director John Currie, who will be 100 days on the job this weekend, joining us here on Tri-Cities Sports Now. Thanks for taking the time. I know you've been doing a lot of the media rounds, and what better way to start making inroads with the people of Tennessee and the fan base. But, when you were hired, John Currie, I know that one of the things you said is that Tennessee can, and your goal was to have the best athletic department in the country. Why do you think that's possible at Tennessee?
Well, candidly, there's not many places that truly have all those kind of raw characteristics that it takes to do that. But if you look back at the history of the University of Tennessee, both from a time many, many years ago where we consistently dominated the SEC All-Sports Trophy, where we had multiple teams in multiple sports competing for national championships simultaneously, we do have that history. The critical thing is to understand is the level of competition and the fields of competition evolve and change. And now we're in a moment in time or a period of time in intercollegiate athletics where at the highest level, in the Southeastern Conference, in the Power 65, there's been both a consolidation and a diffusion of resources so that everybody's got good facilities and everybody's got money for a nutrition station and cost of attendance scholarships and all that kind of stuff. And so we've got to step up our game from a people standpoint. And I'm thrilled with the people who are here at the university and have joined the university, and ultimately that passion across the state. 100,000 people in Neyland Stadium. We may have 1,000 people on Tuesday night at Kingsport Farmers Market from 5 to 7 p.m. for our Big Orange Caravan event. Those are the things that make you excited about the University of Tennessee and our future marching forward.
Yeah, I did want to point that out on July 11th, as you say, in Kingsport, you've got the Vols Caravan. I believe you've been in Memphis and Chattanooga already. Am I correct on that? What I've been to one of these caravans, but I'll let you tell me, what would fans going to the caravan in Kingsport see? Why should they spend their $5 and eat the free popcorn there?
Well, you can't get popcorn for $5 most anywhere these days, but the reality of it is that what we've done this year is really revitalized the events and gone back to the fundamentals. And the fundamentals is enjoying and thanking and recognizing our fans, many of whom drive down from Upper East Tennessee to Knoxville on Saturdays or Wednesday nights for basketball games or whatever it is. And, it's our turn to go north on the interstate and be with our fans. And so it's very much a festive event. Kids are welcome. It's casual. We've got face painting stations and autograph lines, and we'll have a program. Coach Jones will be there. He's chosen to give up 2 of his vacation days this summer on Monday and Tuesday to do a Nashville event on Monday and do a Tri-Cities event on Tuesday because he cares so much about our fans and understands how important that home field advantage is. Our women's tennis coach, Allison Ojeda, our track and field coach and director, Beth Alford Sullivan, Chris Woodruff, our new men's coach on the tennis side, who won the 1993 NCAA championship as a player, Bob Kessling. So it's really an opportunity for us to just engage with our fans, very low-key, casual. We've kind of done away with the old-fashioned, come in, sit down, eat a plated dinner type thing, just so people can have fun. And the money, which is not a whole lot of money, but that $5, it just doesn't go to the athletic department. It goes to provide scholarships that are awarded by the local UTK Alumni Association for students to come to Tennessee. So we're looking forward to a fun, festive environment, and we're not too far away from kickoff here. It gets about 10 Saturdays away. What a great opportunity to see some of our fans and thank them for their great support for the University of Tennessee.
Yeah, I do remember those old-fashioned, getting John Ward's autograph, that sort of thing at Freedom Hall when they would do that, and it would be a sit-around and all that. But it's always a little bit boring to wait around for an autograph, too. So anyway, John Currie is the athletic director of the University of Tennessee, joining me on Tri-Cities Sports. Now, I do want to go back to the original question about, and you mentioned the history that Tennessee has in the SEC about being an elite, or as you once put, the best athletic program in the nation. But I guess, would that mean the addition perhaps of additional programs? I mean, I could play devil's advocate with you here and say, well, Ohio State has a varsity hockey team. With the success of the Predators, could the Ice Vols be going varsity? I mean, is that something like that on the horizon to try to be the best program in the country?
Well, there's different ways to define best program in the country. Certainly, there's a straight, sports performance standpoint. There's the quality of your academic performance. The University of Tennessee right now is at a period of time where we have the best graduation success rates and academic progress rates in the history of our program. Under Coach Jones' leadership in football, for instance, we had the best APR score ever in our football program's history. Men's basketball graduated 100%. I mean, we've really made great progress in those areas. But a great program is a leader on and off the field. A great program has consistent success. As Coach Dickey used to say back in the old days, at the University of Tennessee, you should either be playing for the championship or biting on the butt of the guy that is, and that should be across the board. But also the way we work hard to represent our state, the way we help our community, the community service, our student athletes are involved with all those kinds of things. Those all factor into that, and candidly, the commitment to compliance and doing things the right way, doing things with integrity, and then having a great fan experience. One of the things about our athletics program that's different than other athletics programs around the country, not only do we have this incredible state of Tennessee, but our program, of all the major land-grant universities in the country, and especially in our league and our region, there is not a better city to be in than Knoxville, Tennessee. And I've been gone for 8 years. I come back here and see the incredible change and progress in all the communities of our state. And here in kind of the hometown of the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, we've had incredible development as people have enjoyed when they come down the highway here. The campus at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville is the most beautiful it's ever been. We've got all this. It blew me away when I came onto campus 4 months ago and saw all the trees and the grass and the beautiful Haslam Music Building. Natalie Haslam Music Building, our student union, our new residence halls like Stokely Residence Hall, and certainly we have nice athletic facilities too. But the real change in the last couple of years has been from an academic perspective.
Now, do you consider yourself an educator?
Say that again, please.
Do you consider yourself an educator?
Absolutely. And when people ask me why I'm in this for, I believe in higher education. I believe in the role of intercollegiate athletics in higher education, both from the perspective of the opportunity that is provided to the individual student athletes who take advantage of scholarships. And I know there's a lot of parents and people out there know how going to college requires an investment financially, and that investment has grown over the last number of years. And even though the University of Tennessee at Knoxville just had the lowest tuition increase in 30 years, which is an incredible accomplishment by the leaders of this community and the investment our state has made in higher education, the opportunity to have a college scholarship from athletics is an extraordinarily valuable opportunity. At the same time, there are people, first-generation college students at the schools in our state, including the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, who their exposure to the idea of college comes from intercollegiate athletics.
Sure.
So there may be somebody that comes to that caravan event on Tuesday night that maybe they come with a parent or grandparent or an aunt or uncle, and maybe that's the moment in time they say, boy, I want to go to college someday. Not just as an athlete, but I'd love to go to the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. And maybe when they go back to school in August, that puts them just a little bit more attention and a little bit more success. And that's one of the ways intercollegiate athletics can help higher education.
Well, John Currie, athletic director at Tennessee, let me then ask this rhetorical question. You've spoken a lot about the academic success of the Tennessee athletic program. If someday in the future you had a winning coach, but his graduation rate or her graduation rate wasn't up to standards, would you consider firing him or her?
Well, one of the good things about the reform movement in the NCAA in the last 15 years is there's now significant consequences if you do not, there are real consequences now if you do not maintain your academic integrity and progress towards graduation. In fact, one of the untold, I won't say miracle because a lot of hard work went into it, but when Coach Jones came here, when Butch Jones came to the University of Tennessee, we were 1 point away from our football team being banned from the postseason. And when that happens under APR probation, the APR is the NCAA's academic performance rate. When that happens, it's open season. Your players can transfer without any restrictions. Your program's decimated. It's almost like a living death penalty. And under Coach Jones's leadership and our folks in our Thornton Center and our faculty, we made it through. And now you turn around and have a really superlative ranking and the best in performance in the school's history. So at this point in our moment in the history of college athletics, you're going to have coaches that get fired because around the country, not here because we're not going to let that happen, but because their academic performance has put them in such a difficult position that they're not eligible for the postseason.
Well, we're talking to John Currie, athletic director at UT. You're going to be in Kingsport here on July 11th with the Caravan. But, the basketball team, the men's basketball team, was in Johnson City last season. First time in 53 years that the Volunteers played ETSU in Johnson City. Now, I know Rick Barnes has had a different philosophy in scheduling perhaps than Bruce Pearl, who seemed to be very conducive to playing around the state as the state university. Do you think that there's a responsibility for UT to have games all around the state, to play in places like the Tri-Cities every now and then for your graduates in the Tri-Cities?
Well, I was here when I was here 8 years before. It was during that run under Coach Pearl, and I was involved in some of that basketball scheduling. And I love what Rick Barnes is doing from a basketball scheduling standpoint. If you look at our schedule right now, in fact, I got the non-conference schedule the other day. I saw a press release, and I kind of took a deep gulp because I'm thinking maybe it's too challenging. We're playing Georgia Tech. We're playing North Carolina here in Knoxville, which is an incredible opportunity for our university. We've talked about going back to Memphis at some point to play. What we've got to do with each of our sports, scheduling is you must do very carefully, and you must do it in the context of what truly is the best way for that program to continue to grow. And so we've got to balance, being around our state and also being responsible to our television partners who certainly provide a lot of the funding for our programs in return for games that are attractive on TV. And then also ensuring that from a national perspective, Tennessee is presented in a way that is attractive nationally. So take, for example, in football, we'll start out this year. I was thinking about it last night. I don't believe there's a program in the country that has a more challenging first 13 days of the season than the University of Tennessee, because we're going to go down and play on Labor Day night, Monday night, against Georgia Tech, which runs a very very effective and efficient offense that nobody else runs. So it's a very unique preparation. And even though I'm betting we're going to have more Orange fans in that building than Georgia Tech fans because of the way our folks are, we're still the ones that got to get on the bus and drive 3 hours, right? Then we're going to come home and play on Saturday, and then the next week we're going to go play at Florida. So, you got two wonderful opportunities to showcase our program, because that Monday night game is going to be on ESPN, and it'll be a standalone game, and then 13 days later that is that CBS full national broadcast at the University of Florida. So those are great opportunities to showcase our program, but they're also very, it's also a very compressed time frame to play two games essentially on the road, which is a real challenge. And I really salute Butch Jones for the way he's going about preparing our team for that challenge.
Well, with respect to how tough the football schedule is at the beginning of the year, John Currie, I'm taking from my question that you don't really have any plans, or it's not an emphasis for another basketball game in Johnson City anytime soon. Is that kind of safe to say?
Candidly, Coach Barnes and I hadn't even discussed it. We haven't talked about it. And one of the things I think an athletics director's got to do is be sure that we do those things thoughtfully with our different coaches. I have the highest degree of respect for Steve Forbes. We have continued to remain in touch. I was able to Spent some time with him when he was out at Wichita State as an assistant, and then while I was still at Kansas State, and was thrilled and was a proponent for him to get that East Tennessee State job. And what a marvelous job he's done there. I also respect Dr. Sander, and then Scott Carter, your deputy AD up there at East Tennessee State. We hired Scott originally back in what we used to call the VASF, and Scott and his wife Kristen is a wonderful family helping lead your program.
All right. Well, the other game that was played, certainly the Lady Vols also played in the Mini Dome, but the Battle of Bristol, college football attendance record set. You want to do that again?
I would love to continue to reflect on the success that was, and if it becomes the right thing to do for all parties, we'll certainly look at it again. It was I can just say as a spectator, I wasn't here. I was out at Kansas State, and I got home from our game, or from Kansas State's game, I should say, and watched a little bit of that game, and it was unbelievable. And hats off to the folks at Bristol Motor Speedway and the creativity, and Jerry Caldwell and all the folks at Virginia Tech, and the operations people at Tennessee, and certainly the patience of everybody getting in and out of there. What an incredible spectacle.
Well, it was an incredible spectacle, but have you had any talks with BMS about doing anything like that again? I know they'd said that they wanted to have similar events in the future. I just was curious. Has that been conversation in your first 100 days or so?
I have not had any specific conversations about that. As I mentioned earlier, Jerry Caldwell is a good representative of BMS, and we're still in the wrap-up phases of the last year. And he's actually coming down here to visit with me next week. So we're not coming to talk about anything specific about future specific things, but certainly the opportunity to have another event like that would be very special. The challenge is it a because of the unique logistics of that, is it a once in a once in a X number of years, or is it a once in a lifetime? What is it? And if you look around some of the other special event contests, years ago, Michigan State and their AD Mark Hollis pioneered kind of some of these stadium hockey games, or basketball, where they played a basketball game in the middle of the dome, or the first time somebody played a basketball game on an aircraft carrier. So there are a lot of first time unique things, and sometimes you have to be a little careful in assuming that a first time unique event is going to be repeatable and sustainable. Because it is a unique thing. There has to be something special about it. But certainly that racetrack and history and the incredible show and that experience for those student athletes. You talk about the opportunity to be a student athlete and play in an environment like that. I mean, that's those two teams at Virginia Tech and the University of Tennessee, and I guess Tennessee State played there the night before. I mean, those student athletes have had an experience that no one else, of all the millions of people who played college football, they've had the most unique experience anyone could ever have.
Well, it certainly was, like I said, a memorable experience. I think the second biggest sporting event ever to take place, or the second biggest sports moment ever in the Tri-Cities. Last question I want to ask you. I know it's recently been recommended that the university system have a Title IX compliance director. And Title IX, of course, has been very good for the University of Tennessee over the years. I mean, where would the women's basketball program be without it? Are you going to hire like you were recommended to, a Title IX compliance director at UT?
Well, I believe what you're referencing is the Title IX Commission's recommendation to the system, and that aspect of Title IX deals more with ensuring that institutions live up to their responsibilities under federal law to protect students from sexual assault, sexual violence, dating violence, partner violence, and sexual discrimination. The University of Tennessee in Knoxville has an excellent, and was reported in that particular report, has an excellent Title IX compliance office. We have a Deputy Title IX coordinator here in intercollegiate athletics, and we're committed to having an environment that's safe for all of our students, and I believe that we do. And when we have problems, we put them into the institutional process, not an athletic department process, but an institutional process, and move on. Now, as you speak to your question, when you're talking about equality or equitable treatment and opportunities, I would put this university up against any university in the country when you look at comparing the athletic support and athletic experience for female student athletes and male student athletes. We have been very fortunate here, going back to Joan Cronin and Pat Summit and all the different folks who, Dr. Bowling, Doug Dickey, who made sure that was a priority, and kind of how we came along with that, and the results follow. We've had extraordinary success in women's athletics along with men's athletics.
Well, he is John Currie, the new AD at Tennessee. And yes, you are correct. That was what I was asking here. But do you foresee making a hire in that as you were recommended to do? That is the, I guess, yes or no is the question I'm asking here.
No, what was recommended is the university system make a hire at the Title IX
system,
establish a Title IX compliance office. The University of Tennessee at Knoxville, our campus, of which the University of Tennessee Athletics Department is part of, has that already.
I see. Okay, yes, the system,
Certainly that system-wide office, as recommended, would provide additional resources and support and leadership for all the campuses of the University of Tennessee system, being, Martin, Chattanooga, the Medical Center in Memphis, and UT Knoxville and Tullahoma. But in terms of the function of what that person does, we are doing that, I believe, from my 100 days observing under Dr. Davenport's leadership, and Vince Currie, our Dean of Students. I think the University of Tennessee at Knoxville is establishing a leadership position and the right way to go about those things.
He's John Currie. 100 days this weekend, about 102 when you can meet him at the Caravan in Knoxville this weekend. And I want to thank you for joining me here on Tri-City Sports Now.